Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Ashley Van Dyke with Advantage Software, and in today's video, we're going to continue exploring the File Manager with File Manager functions Backup and Restore. Backing up and restoring files to an external drive or device is easy with Eclipse using the File Manager. You can access the File Manager through Tools and then File Manager, or by pressing Ctrl F. Once you're in the File Manager, there are a few settings that are important to know about when you're going to use the backup and restore function. Because the backup and restore function also automatically zip and then unzip your files, it's important to go to Settings and check to see if there's anything listed in the Excluded from Whole Job Zip category. Right now, I have WAV listed, which means that my WAV files would not be included in whole job zips, and therefore also won't be included when I back up the job. WAV files don't need to be compressed when zipped in order to make them smaller because they're compressed in Eclipse already. However, if you're going to be using the backup system to save your files and you want that to include the WAV file, you're going to want to remove WAV from this list of excluded file types. So in this example, I'm going to back up WAV files using the backup and restore functions. So I'm going to remove WAV from this list. Also in this window, you can see that when deleting files, you can choose when to be warned about deleting the files, either never, once at the beginning of the deletion, once for each job, or once for each file. And then on the right, there are also settings for when you're emailing files through the File Manager. These settings, however, aren't relevant to using backup and restore. Only the files excluded from whole job zip are relevant when we're talking about backup and restore. I've removed WAV from the whole job zip category, and I'm going to hit OK. Next, I can select the files that I'd like to back up. I'm going to go ahead and select File 1 and File 2, and I'll hit the Backup button in the top left. It does warn me that audio and video files are large and already compressed and asks me if I want to zip them anyway. In this case, since I'm using this as a backup system, I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. And it will ask me the same question for both files. I can go ahead and click Don't Show This Message again if I don't want to see it in the future. And next it'll ask me where I want to save the backup files to. It gives me the option to email them or burn them to a CD. I can also browse to any location on my computer, or I can save them in one of the files that are located at the top of the File Manager. All of these file locations are the default locations that are built into Eclipse, and they're on my computer. I want to save these outside of my computer onto an external drive, so I'm going to choose Browse and then OK. I'll scroll down, select my USB drive, and press OK. And it tells me that the file operation is complete, meaning that the files have been successfully backed up to the USB drive. And when I press OK, the File Manager updates, and now the zip files that were created by the backup process are listed in the File Manager for both File 1 and File 2. And if I open up my USB drive by going to Windows File Explorer and then clicking on my USB drive, you see that I have File 1.zip and File 2.zip. If I right-click, Extract All, and hit Extract, you see that I have all of the files that were included in my File Manager for this job. I have my ECL file, my note file, PDF, text file, and WAV. I didn't have dictionaries for these two jobs listed. I can do the same thing with File 2 and extract the files. And you see again that I have all of the files that were listed there. For File 2, if I go back to my File Manager, you see that I did not have a PDF listed, and so there's no PDF listed inside of the zip file on my backup drive. I'm going to go ahead and delete the unzipped copies of these folders since I unzipped them just for demonstration purposes to display what was in them. And we'll go back into Eclipse and I'll show you how you can restore these files. So since I backed up File 1 and File 2, I'm actually going to delete these. It's going to ask me if I want to delete both files, because that's what my settings are currently set to. And then the files are automatically deleted. When you're restoring, you don't need to select a file because you're restoring from a different location. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit the Restore button to start the process to get those two files back into my File Manager. So I'll hit Restore. And since I browsed before and I don't have my USB drive set up as a drive in my file manager yet, I'm going to go ahead and hit browse and then next. I'll go to my USB drive and you'll see that on the USB drive it doesn't show me in this window that there are any files. However, once I select the USB drive and then hit OK, I'll see the files. After browsing for my USB drive and selecting it, the Restore wizard shows me the files that are on the USB drive, file1.zip and file2.zip. And in the background, the file manager has transitioned to the Browse tab, and it's also showing me the contents of the USB drive. You can select all of the files by hitting Select All or Deselect All, and you can click and unclick the files to select and deselect them. I'm going to go ahead and select both File 1 and File 2 and hit Finish. It tells me file operation complete, and when I press OK, it transitions me back to the Job tab of the File Manager, and I see that I have File 1 and File 2 back in the File Manager, and it's also copied the zip file back over for me. Next, I'm going to show you how the file locations work when you're using the backup system. I'm going to go ahead and close out of my File Manager and go to Production and then User Settings. Once I'm in my user settings, I can go to Programming and then File Location. There are two file locations used by the backup and revert process most specifically. If you hit Add, the first option is Generic Auxiliary or AUX. If I choose OK to this, I can highlight my USB drive, for instance, and hit OK, and then OK and OK. And if I go to the File Manager, I can select a file, hit Backup, and now one of the options I have is aux for auxiliary. I can choose auxiliary and then press OK. And after file operation complete, I can go to my USB drive and I see that I have my zipped file and with all of my documents inside of it. The other important file location when working with backup and restore is external. If I return to my user settings, to the Programming tab, and to File Locations, when I hit Add this time, I'm going to choose External from the list, and you see that this one says it's specifically for backup and restore, and then I'll press OK. It allows me to browse for a folder again, and I want to use my USB drive. However, this is going to be where I back up my files to most of the time for permanent backup. So I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to make a 2020 folder to contain all of my work for this year. I'll select the 2020 folder and hit OK. And you see that now I have auxiliary equals just my E USB drive, but my external pathing equals E and then the 2020 folder. That means that I can have both of these shortcuts usable in the file manager, but they browse to different locations and save files to different locations. So I'll press OK out of here and OK again. I'll go back to Tools, File Manager, and this time I'm going to choose File 2 and hit Backup. And after hitting Backup, I'm going to choose External and press OK. File operation complete. And now if I go to my USB drive again, I have a 2020 folder, and inside of that 2020 folder is the file 2 that I copied there. And I still have file 1 on the root of the drive. This allows me to use the same drive for different purposes. If I just need to quickly move files back and forth between computers, I can save things to auxiliary, which is the root of the drive, and retrieve them from auxiliary. However, if I want to use this drive for long-term backup, I can back up my files to specific folders that'll contain older files that I don't need to reference frequently. Next, I'll show you how the restore function works with both the auxiliary path and the external path. So I'll choose file number 1 and file number 2, and I'm going to delete them first. Next, I'm going to hit restore. And this time I'm going to choose my auxiliary directory and hit next. And this time file1.zip is listed since that's the only file that's on the root of my USB drive right now. I can hit finish. And file 1 is again in my list of files. I'm going to go ahead and hit restore again. And this time I'll choose the external removable drive link. And this time I see file 2. That's the only one that is within my external link right now, which is my 2020 folder. So I'll highlight that folder and click Finish. And now I have file 2 along with all of its files, just like I have for file 1. For the next example, I'll choose Backup. And this time I'll choose the backup link from the Pick One list and press OK. Now, after backing up file 3 using the backup link, I can go up to tab 4 where it says Backup, and you'll see that I have file 3 listed here, and it's just the zip file. Within the zip file is going to be contained all of the files for file 3. However, this has put it straight into my backups folder, and if I hit Explore at the top, I see that my backups folder is located just on my C drive in Eclipse Backups. So this backup folder is where all of the automated backups that you can use to revert to previous versions of your documents and settings are stored. So this storage location is on the same computer that you're using, and it may not be what you want to use for long-term storage if you want to back files up and remove them from the computer. However, if you just want to store something here, it is available. I'm going to go back to tab 1 job, and I'm going to delete file 3, and we'll restore it from the backup directory. So I'll hit Restore, and I can choose a backup directory on the hard drive and hit Next. And you'll see that in addition to all of the backup files that I have to choose from here, I can go down and find file 3 and hit Finish. Press OK. And file 3 is again listed in my file manager. Using Backup and Restore, you can save and retrieve files from any location on your computer, including external drives that are connected to your computer. Using the Browse function, you can browse to any location. And using auxiliary and external pathing in the file location section of your user settings, you can set up quick shortcuts for saving and retrieving all of your files. This can save you time when you're looking for files or thinking of how to back them up. And it makes it so that you can do everything from within Eclipse and not have to worry about doing anything through Windows. Backup and Restore within Eclipse know exactly what to do with all of the files and where to put them. So when you back up and restore, you don't need to worry about manually zipping and unzipping the files. The Backup and Restore service does it all for you. Thank you for watching this video about the Backup and Restore function within the File Manager. This is just another installment in our series about the File Manager, and eventually we will explore all of its functions. If you have any questions about the content in this video or any of Eclipse's other great features or Advantage Software's other products, please feel free to reach out to us. Advantage Software offers anytime support 24/7, including weekends and holidays, and we can always be reached at 772-288-3266. As always, email support is available at support@eclipsecat.com. Thank you for watching our videos. If you enjoy our content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.